Hey, 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 Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, Pajama Grandma, and I am with Mike Kaleikini. And he is going to share his amazing history with us and tell us how he works on growing and supersizing his business so that we can learn from him and his amazing expertise. Mike, welcome. And if you would just tell us a little bit about what you do and why you do it, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. First off, thanks for having me on here. It's really awesome that you invited me. Secondly, you said my name right. Thank you very much. I don't have exactly one of the easiest names in the world to pronounce. Not that hard to remember, thankfully. I've been in business development and marketing strategies now probably for the last, I want to say 10 years or so. I'm originally from the islands of Hawaii. I was a musician for 15 years, from the age of about 16 to 30, 31. And my life was spent with two simple questions. Do I go to my friend's house to go play music, or do I go to the beach? That was pretty much my daily routine. I know that sounds sad, but
I think it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was a good life. I didn't have very much worries, very much to care about. Got to the mainland and realized that that kind of life wasn't going to suffice. So I started studying, learning about marketing and learning about promotions and things of that nature. I first got here to Las Vegas, which is where I live now, in 2004. I've lived here ever since. I live on the south side of the valley, away from the Strip, what everybody loves to call this place Sin City. Its own purposes, having the Strip and the partying and the clubbing and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. A lot of people come to Las Vegas to forget themselves. I get that, but we actually are more of a small town than most people even realize. We're still a one-horse town. You can basically, you do something on one side of the valley, by the end of the day, the other side will know about it, depending on your network, who you're involved with, and who you're talking to. So we're very much still the old Wild West one-horse town kind of thing. And I actually appreciate that. It makes it easier to keep track of things in some ways, and for outreach here locally. In the midst of everything, I learned how to do some online stuff. I learned from some really good, solid marketers. Of course, as of late, having become a part of the guerrilla jungle, which has been a wonderful joy, having conversations with some of the people in there, James, Landon, Ash, just a few, Trish, all people that have in their own rights, their own specialties. Learned a lot. Most of what I deal with is traffic drive. So anything that deals with Facebook ad strategies, landing pages, funnels, email, stuff like that. Oh, Nathan Fraser, another excellent person to follow. If you don't know who that is, go find him. But I've pretty much worked on businesses using those types of strategies as time has gone along. When I started, it was all email marketing. And copy and search engine optimization, backlinks and everything else. So that's the bulk of what we had back then before Facebook became this behemoth that it is now. And of course, now we have all the other platforms. Mm-hmm. So consistently learning, consistently growing, consistently employing new strategies, learning from the experts, whoever the experts are. And I have my criteria for defining who that actually is. And then taking it out to the business world. So for the most part, I work in the higher end, like financial planning, mortgage, real estate, legal, attorneys and stuff like that. And the simple reason for that is for me, it's easier to find them clients. Medical spas too. It's the anti-aging movement is still huge.
They're getting old.
Yeah, most people don't know I'm 68. It's all good.
You are such a liar.
All right, 65. Anyway, actually, my birthday's at the end of this month. I make 47.
I would say you're a baby compared to me, so just knock it off.
I got this new serum. It's called coffee. Yeah, exactly.
I gave it up for 5 years. I think I was insane. And then I found it's actually good for me. So I started drinking it again.
Yeah, well, and Yeah, that's another topic for another time. All the medical research. Um, I do have a podcast online. It's called Coffee with Mike, Java Chat Coffee with Mike. And it's basically just like this, what we're doing. We sit down, we talk with somebody who is in the business world, either building or crushing, one of the two. I like the building ones because they're in the throes of it. And sometimes we come up with some resolutions. If it's crushing, it's kind of like what we're doing. It's just me sharing a story of where I've been.
Right.
The cool part about building a business to me is the ability to watch someone's face light up when they realize there really is a path to profit. There really is a chance to make this baby of mine grow into something that's worthwhile. And then when they figure out, oh wait, I don't have to absolutely be like married to it too. This is possible. Yeah. Then there's another aha moment, another epiphany, and another face lighting up again. You just look at them and go, you seem to be liking what's going on. I just had a very rough conversation with a consultant of mine on one of the startups that I'm working with, only because some of the inner workings need some help. And this person's an expert in that particular field. And it's not one of my favorite conversations to have because it's not my expertise. I'm not a numbers guy. This person is. But it has to be had, because if you don't have those hard conversations, you really don't know where the sandbag or the railroad's going to come from.
Yeah.
And that's something I encourage anybody that's listening. If you're going to get into business and you don't have an intrinsic, implicit understanding of your numbers, you're pretty much hanging yourself like a rug on a clothesline, waiting for somebody to come by and beat you. And it will come. It will happen.
Great analogy.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know a lot of the millennials will understand that one. You and I do, because it was necessary back in the day. But I mean, if you want to make it even plainer for those of you that are younger, take your pants down, bend over, and just wait for somebody to come by with a frat paddle. It's pretty much the same thing.
That's true too.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, numbers. You got to know your numbers, and they don't have to be the same for everybody. There have to be key numbers that you look at every day if you want your business to survive, because you have to know when to react. If it's trending up or trending down, the longer you wait before you look at that number, you can kill yourself and kill your business just because you're not paying attention to it.
Yeah, and I think being overly focused on the numbers can be dangerous too, because then you forget about the rest of the story. So having somebody that could be, like I have, the financial expert that I have, having somebody like that to kind of watch your back. And mind you, having people like that, it's not inexpensive, but the amount of return that it should get you should be at least 5 to 10 times what you're putting into them. And it's only because what they do is they come in and actually help manage the money. I mean, I don't know a single entrepreneur that's a good money manager, honestly.
Terrible. The first thing I outsourced has always been the bookkeeping and accounting and taxes for my organization. It's always been that, and the financial reporting. And I want to look at the numbers, but I don't want to be the one crunching them and figuring them out. No.
Well, especially when you start getting into things like most entrepreneurs are more 20,000 foot level big idea people.
Yep.
They're not frontliners. They're not analytical. They're not super detailed. They find those people because they know it's a weakness of theirs. In my case, I've got 3 different businesses. I've got the marketing business. I'm part of a tech company. And they have their financial person. And then I'm with these guys. And this is where I have my financial expert taking a look at things, having those hard conversations and saying, okay, so what do we need to do here? What do we need to do there? And one of the biggest advantages of having somebody like that watching the bottom line is that I'm one of those guys that loves to go out and make products, make money, make income with just all kinds of stuff. I'm the creative guy. I can get on, but on the back end, I'm just as good at spending it.
Mm-hmm.
So having somebody like that watching bottom line going, you can't, not right now. You need to hold off. but we need it. Got it. Can't do it right now. This is not the time to do it. Here's when you can do it. Gotta wait that long if you want to stay open.
Yeah, if you're doing manufacturing or something, yes, you got to consider the big picture. It's one of the things I found with online marketing. I'm transitioning from the offline brick and mortar world of what I call real businesses to the online world. And what I find in the online world is, okay, this is not a very popular view, but everybody on the online world thinks that online is 100% of business. They think that marketing and sales is the entire business. And it kind of makes me laugh, because if you're doing a business like you are with your beverages and creating a physical product, there's a whole lot of business that has to go on that doesn't have anything to do with marketing and sales. Yeah, we need marketing and sales, but it certainly isn't 90% of the business.
It's interesting. Most people think that when you're in spirits manufacturing, majority of the business is marketing, while a major chunk of capital is put into marketing. The cost of sales, is a lot more than most people think. In the case of this, we're talking about a rye product where the only way you can stay in business is if you're actually making whiskey or making rye, distilling. If you're not distilling, you're not in business. Well, that is a lot. I mean, you're talking about barrels,
Yeah.
You're talking about sugar, you're talking about yeast, you're talking about rye, and we go 100% rye, organic. Stuff's not cheap.
Mm-mm.
So on a monthly basis, just on the cost of goods, we're already into 5 figures.
Yeah, it's interesting because I did Italian food manufacturing and manufacturing for 35 years. And so, yeah, it's such a different setup, and people don't understand that when they're just in the online world. But it makes a cool place for me because I help bridge that gap for people.
I think a lot of people miss out too, that being online, being a drop shipper, that's all great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody still has to produce this stuff.
Exactly.
And
they're still costly goods.
You're really just a sales arm. I have an online business, drop shipping. That's you have a marketing company, then is what you have. You don't have really a business.
Business. I'm not going to say that they don't have real businesses. It's just a very different type of business. And so, you have to consider that there's all kinds of different types of business out there. And yes, I think everybody can benefit by having an online arm to their business, but that doesn't mean that's going to be their whole business. It'd be nice.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
It's not going to be. So.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab a bottle of water here.
I was going to say, get something to drink because I know you got that cough going on. That was very close and quick.
I keep a big mega pack right there.
Nice.
So that when I'm thirsty, I can just pull it.
Well, when you're older and have creaky joints, you need to get up and down a lot. So that's why I purposely don't keep anything like that in my office, so that I make myself get up and keep moving around.
I actually learned that one as a reinforcement. I'd been told that years ago that every 50 minutes or so you need to stand up. I'm still not the best at it. I'll sit here for 2.5 hours. But Brendan Bouchard is somebody that it's okay for you to work at your desk, but every 50 minutes you need to get up, stretch, move, do something.
Yeah.
Or you will start feeling it as you get older.
And you'll get blood clots and all kinds of crazy things that are bad for you. So you have to get up and move around. I think that part of the problem with all the online world and the kids and stuff nowadays is we don't get up and move around enough. We don't be physically active. I mean, get up, go outside, breathe the fresh air. So yeah, my office, it's right by the front door. So
yeah, my 17-year-old comes home and sits at his desk for most of the night, and I poke my head in every hour or so. You stand up yet?
Come on, we're walking around the house. We're walking around the kitchen island.
Oh, the exercise that we get, he gets it twice a day. I get it twice in the morning. I walk with him to his bus. It's a mile.
Nice.
Uphill. I think I mentioned this to you.
You did. Uphill, but not both ways, just one way.
No. And it's not in the snow.
No snow.
No snow. Not right now anyway. Might be possible this year though. We are high desert. We'll see. But walking uphill 1 mile and then downhill a mile. So he comes home, it's downhill, but in the morning it's uphill. So he's getting exercise. Plus He's got his school. For me, I'm not that lucky. I don't get physical education anymore. I literally got to take my ass over to the gym or something and do something different. So, but yeah, we got to move.
Walk. It's not a health talk, but all you got to do is move and walk and do something. It doesn't have to be massive.
I remember hearing a story years ago. A doctor, I can't remember the name of the doctor, but he said, the secret to a long, healthy life, get sleep, 6 hours at least, drink water, and take a walk.
Every day. That's it.
That was his advice.
My grandma just turned 99 this last week, and I think that's part of her success is that, she, that's it. Water. Plus, she's a great cook. I don't know. She's a great cook.
Yeah. My mom is 80, and I take her to the gym 3 times a week. And
That's
she
fantastic.
works out. She does a little circuit training, gets herself, worked out, and walks with me there and back. It's here at the complex, so it's not far away.
Cool.
But 80 years old, and she can do pull downs with a lat bar at 25 pounds.
Wow.
That's pretty damn good. So the idea, I'll share this story too. I knew of another gentleman who worked in landscaping, the Ritz-Carlton. Years ago, I used to work for the Ritz-Carlton, food and beverage. And there was this old Filipino man who used to work in landscaping. And everybody knew him as Tata, which is basically grandpa. Really nice, humble man. Always there early, would leave whenever they normally leave. And so I came to work one day, and I didn't see him. And after a week's time, I'd noticed he hadn't been there. I'm like, did he take a vacation? Because they take vacations back to the Philippines quite often. They're like, oh no, he passed away. I'm like, excuse me? He said, yeah, he passed away last week. I was like, from what? He said, oh, he just didn't wake up. I said, well, that's a way to go. But I mean, wasn't he young? Because he did not look old. He was 92.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, here's the amazing part. He rode a bike to work every day, 6.5 miles. Uphill one way, down the other. And Maui on the west side is not known for being exactly the coolest part of the island.
No.
In the mornings, it wasn't bad. And that's when he would bike to work. Well, Filipino food isn't exactly the baddest food in the world. And they got a lot of healthy, good stuff. He drank water and he biked to and from work every day, and then worked in landscaping, which kept him active. 92 years old, and the man was working until he passed away. That was his choice, obviously, but it only perpetuates, hey, keep moving. The more you move, the more chance you have at living a longer, fuller life. He was happy. He was always smiling. Anyway, I was kind of off the subject.
That's all right. We can talk about whatever we want. That's the cool thing about having your own podcast, right?
Yeah.
You can just ask questions and talk about whatever you want. So
that was something that was really neat, that I remember learning and hearing about. I try to do that with myself, with my mother. My son, he's young enough, he can kind of get away with it right now.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me is being able to keep myself mentally square, in the midst of being involved in 3 different companies.
I'm not quite sure. I can say I'm sure how you do it, because I used to have a whole bunch of companies, but then I had a cardiac arrest because of it. So maybe there is something about the whole 3 different company things. I don't know what your role is in each of them, I guess.
My role in one, I'm actually the business development in each. The specifics of that role in each company is different. Right now in the tech company, it's under sales. Creating relationships, outreach, things of that nature, which we're doing this week and next for a convention coming up. The whiskey company is about setting up distribution and sales, finding salespeople to go out and actually market the product and get out there and get distributors to, take care of the accounts that we open. So we're like one of the few spirit companies that has feet on the street.
Yeah, liquor's a tough business. I was in liquor for a lot of years, about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm still not sure why I got involved, but I did, and we're getting there. The last one is the marketing company. That's everything, from project management to prospecting and sales, et cetera, et cetera. I do have a couple of services that I actually white label because they're not my specialty, but it's a very wanted service. So in the case of, if you want it done, you can try to hunt these guys down yourself. Good luck. They're not very public. And it's funny because half the guys that I do that with, and there's only a couple, half the guys I do that with will not go public. They're the ones that you come across by chance. And their services work very well, and they make fun of all the guys that are out there ripping and tearing. And I'm like, why don't you go out and make this public? They're like, nah, it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, so I'll go out and go promote it, and you service it, and just, we'll make some kind of arrangement. Like, yeah, just white label, it's fine. For the most part, where I actually put my own creative to work is creating content, creating Facebook ads, creating actual campaigns. I put my hands to the keyboard for that. If it comes down to writing articles, I may put my hands to it, but for the most part, I have better creative writers than me. I wonder if I should have somebody proofread. I wrote a book on business etiquette, and I think you and I had a conversation about that.
Yep.
Actually, I'll just send you a copy just so you can read it. I'd love your opinion.
I will break out my magnifying glass and read it for you.
That would be awesome. It's a PDF, so you should be able to just increase the screen size.
Bigger, yep. I read everything on my computer and my Kindle, and everybody's like it. I'll be going like this if I'm somewhere. Like, what are you doing? I'm reading.
You're a speed reader. No, just really big.
No, I just have really big font.
That's awesome. My mom does too. She goes to the library. She goes through about 10 books a week.
I don't read that many anymore. I used to, but I can't do it with, the magnifying glass is definitely a limiter.
Yeah. Even for me, I'm probably going to have to get glasses this next year. This is blurry. So
I wish glasses would fix it. That'd be awesome, but do what you got to do.
There's so much good stuff coming out nowadays. Again, another subject for another time. The best thing about the creative writers that I do have, though, is that their ability to go and research a subject and come back with relevant content, I haven't seen in a long time. So
awesome.
Very thankful for the two that I work with. And if somebody needs content written, I can either do up to 4,000 words a month in one side, or if you really want to turn it up, I can do 400 word articles daily. And that's for people that have, you got a blog site and you just don't have the time to produce the content. I can do it. If you've got a funnel that you got to launch and you need some real good traffic drives, I can do it. If you've got a product that you actually want to launch, I can do it. I got the funnels. I can make that all work. I'm not really the coach consultant kind of deal, which is why you don't see me as active in the jungle as often. I will say that they have got the best system for coaches and consultants because they really teach people how to do it properly. Landon and I had a couple of really awesome conversations around business etiquette, social acuity, and emotional intelligence. I love him. He's
mm-hmm. I love that group. I have to make myself not spend time in there so I actually get my own stuff done and pay attention to my own group. Otherwise I get sucked in every day. I've got to be in there 10 times a day. I'm popping in to check in.
Great content. And that's really the point. Arnie, who basically, Arnie started it, Landon knew it, saw what Arnie was doing, watched what he was doing, and then said, yeah, that's correct, and did his own thing. And now they have their product. I mean, all of these people have the right system for who they're targeting.
Exactly.
And it still comes back to the same old principles. You and I discussed this too. Marketing principles haven't changed, just the platforms by which it's delivered.
Right.
In fact, yesterday I did a presentation, very short, during public comment for the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. Nice. They're an agency that's responsible for continually bringing in tourists, people that want to come and visit a destination. We are considered a tier 1 destination, which means we have an international airport. We get a ton of visitors per year. Our revenues are well into the billions, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. Making a presentation to them to let them know about Zen Space. And now I can't remember where I was going with this. My brain fart just happened. We were discussing, oh goodness.
Content and the Gorilla Group and doing it right and presentation to the big group. I don't remember either. Sorry.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
help am I?
This happens every once in a while. It's called a brain fart, y'all, and it comes at a point when you mentally don't. I think it had something to do with being able to present properly in front of other people, which I had the super nervousness because it's been a long time since I presented to a board of that stature.
Mm-hmm.
Presenting to boards previously is no big deal because it's usually internally corporate. This was a public forum. And there were a few people in there that I did not really want to, one, disappoint. And then there were a few other people in there I didn't want them, prejudging, oh, who's this kid?
Mm-hmm.
Because in this town, I'm still considered a kid, even at
Kid,
47.
yep.
Thankfully, the presentation went well enough that I had a couple of really great results. And made a couple of connections that I had been meaning to make. One that actually walked up to me, which was really awesome. And that's going to start a sales conversation. Still not sure what the point of that was, but I'm sure we'll figure it out as we talk. That kind of business development is quite different. That's your offline, what you and I are very familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches and consultants nowadays are more online than they are off. Some of them are still on the seminar circuit, which is absolutely fine. I had a conversation with somebody about that 2 days ago. He's off in the Orient right now, and I told him, I said, you're missing out on a lot of income, not being in the seminar circuit and not getting out there and putting yourself out there. I mean, you're a digital nomad, you're great online, but there's a lot of people that still don't know who you are and don't know the benefits of who you are. And he stopped and goes, you know what, you're right. I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. I said, don't think of it that way. That's the wrong reason to come back and do this. That's what most of them do it for. You come back to serve. He goes, you're right. He says, I have to think about how to make that work because of what he's involved in right now. I think for the most part, if somebody's wanting to build a business, that whole ICA thing, understanding who it is that your ideal client is, you have to have that down. If you don't know that, you're not going to get it.
My favorite thing about the jungle, because I tend to be way too broad, like almost every entrepreneur, we have 20,000 different things we're interested in. I mean, I've run dozens of different businesses in the past. So when you come online, how do you decide who you're going to serve? And, it kind of starts to find you as you define that more. So totally
I think that it does help. It also tells you which businesses you probably should stick with and which ones you probably shouldn't. That was one of the hard conversations I had this morning. I'm only involved in 3, and I say I'm only involved in 3 at this point because at one time I was involved with as many as 6. 3 of which were absolute time drainers and wasters. There was no reason to see them ever profiting. All 3 of them did fail. And I got out before they did, which was, I reclaimed some of my time. Mental breaks. That's one of the things that I wanted to bring up with regards to just being involved in the 3 that I'm in now. I take mental breaks. And when I say mental breaks, I'm a gamer. A lot of people wouldn't admit that, but I don't care. That's my mental break. If I feel like I'm stressed, overwhelmed, and a walk outside doesn't cure it, I will sit down and pull up a game and I will play for a while.
Nice.
And people will go, well, you're wasting time. Like, maybe, but it's better than me sitting here racking my brains and not having any kind of thoughts coming across my head other than I hate this sucks, this is worthless, why am I doing this? Versus, okay, I just went in, dominated on a game, I'm back, let's do this, what's next? Which frame of mind do you want to take to the table? And I think mindset's a huge thing. Yesterday when I was on my way there, Ryan Rukowski, who was a good friend of you probably know that name.
I do know that name. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He's a good friend. Called him up yesterday. We chatted for a second and he says, what's going on? I'm like, I'm on my way to do this presentation for the board and nervous as F. I don't understand. He goes, okay, so we're going to talk about disappointment this morning. I'm like, all right, what's up? And in the midst of that, he literally took it off of disappointment and put the focus on, you have no reason to be nervous. These people don't know you. You are the expert in your field. You're going to crush this. It's all you. go get it, and just did that with me for about 2 or 3 minutes. I went in and I knocked it out. Not in the way that I wanted to, but I still knocked it out. And it looks like it might be a knock pretty close to the wall, if not out of the park, which would be awesome. And having that kind of backup out of the jungle, phenomenal. Couldn't possibly, just that alone, just the community alone, has been invaluable. Landon, Ash, Ryan, now having met you, and there's a few others out of the group there's
incredible people in there, absolutely amazing people.
I love James.
It's so
James Gaffney has got to be one of the funniest MFers I've ever. And
cracks me up. That's another group I try to stay out of. Not in a bad way, but just there's so many good groups that have come out of the jungle. And then you try to follow everybody, and you're like, okay, there's only so many hours in a day. So
that's funny because I have 8 groups. I only work one really well, and the only reason that is because it deals with private lending, private money for real estate investors. So I get maybe 10 to 20 requests to join the group a week, which is small. It's not an Arnie Giske thing. But it's going through all of those, pulling the ones that actually answer the questions, refusing the ones that I know are catfish, or doing it's a lot of work. And I think for the most part though, if you're clear on what it is that you're after, and I'll throw this out as a reminder again, if you're clear on what it is that you're after on a group, as far as who you want in there, who you want interacting, who you want as part of the community, you'll attract the James Gaffneys, you'll attract the Nathan Frasers, the Ryan Rutkowskis, the Sharon Ellstroms, you'll attract the right ones. If you're not clear, you're going to get every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and you're not going to have a successful group. Arnie has, I gotta give props to Arnie Giske because he is managing a 70,000 member group very well.
It's a good group too. Yeah, that group that's another group I'm in I'm in there every day. I pop into certain groups every day, but yeah, that's another one. There's some really, really good ones out there.
And it's only because they really monitor well the spamming part of it, which is great.
Yeah.
On my side, it's just me. I don't have moderators yet. I probably will get some down the line. I'm not at that level with that group. It's not that big. It's only a few hundred. But when it gets past 2,000, I guarantee I'm going to need some help. I'll start looking. The idea of that whole group is to just teach people about private money, what it means to get it, how to get it, who to talk to, what strategies you can use around it for real estate investing. And I'm getting all the guys that are coming in going, oh, no, I'm not an investor, but I want to learn. And I'm like, you're in the wrong group. This is how to get
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. You need to go over to this group. And they're just like,
private money.
What's privite money?
I'm joking. I used to have real estate businesses. So
yeah, no, I mean,
it's businesses to me, I had to get out of them.
Yeah. Because of the arrangements that I have with some private lenders, some actual money guys, I can do that. Because all I have to do is say, okay, here, fill this out and send this over there. And then I'm hands off. I don't have to deal with vetting, credit, or any of that crap. I don't have to do that. So it's like, there you go. The rest of it is, here's how you do it. Here's just learn here, just the treasure hunt. Go learn here. This is how it works. And don't spam in the group. When you spam, I don't care what your background is, you're out. Yeah. And I've kicked out probably 20 people so far. And I noticed that the messages that they were posting were pretty much the same. They had to do with, hey, if you want money, message me direct. And I'm like, no, bye. Smell you later. Yeah. Yeah. Smell you later.
I have a very tiny group, but that's because I think I dump so much information on them. I think I scare them away, but I like it small because I want to know the people that are in there are serious, and it's a really specific niche thing. And I don't need a gazillion people, and I can moderate it. But yeah, if they won't answer the questions, I automatically delete. I'm like, you know what? There's so much value in this group already, just in the beginning of this group and the free material. If you cannot answer 3 little questions and say you won't spam, well, then I know you're going to spam. So I don't want you in my group. I do have to give Landon credit for that. I learned that from him because I would not have known how to set that group up right. I've got other groups, like you said, that I never use. I am really sorry about my phone.
Oh, it's all good.
My ex-husband must know whenever I'm on a call or he used to have Walmart radar, I called it. Whenever I was in Walmart or a store, he would call. So same kind of thing. Yeah, so you have to manage those groups. I mean, I look at the ClickFunnels group and I like that group. I love ClickFunnels. I'm a ClickFunnels gal all the way, but I hate going into the group because there's so much nonsense in there. And I think it just got so big and it just got away from them and nobody's in there kind of moderating it like they need to. So it is what it is. But I appreciate a good group when it's moderated well. So that's nice.
That really helps. I'm getting close to the end of my time with you.
I was just going to say, how can people get in touch with you so they can work with you and find you? Because we don't want to send them to 8 groups. Let's just send them to one place. And then what do you want them to get in touch with you about? What's the primary thing that you would like people to be able to come to you for and you can help them with?
If they need help with their marketing online, creating a funnel, creating traffic, getting traffic, creating content, I'm able to do that. I actually also have artificial intelligence capabilities to create content, which is really cool. They can find me on Desert Media Group on Facebook. That's my page.
Okay.
They can send a message right there. They'll start talking with one of the things that I do, which is my chat bot. They'll be able to chat with my bot. It'll help me to figure out a little bit more about them. If they really want to get involved, there's a fairly lengthy intake form. For obvious reasons. If you're curious, you'll fill it out. Happy to talk to anybody. If they just need advice, they can also message. Info's free. You can either ask it of me or go search it on Google. Like Landon says, everybody has the Google. But if they want to get specific, they can reach out to me there. And then simple enough. Thanks for having me.
So much for your time and for me being late. I apologize profusely, but some of those coaching calls, you probably have to hang up on them. Like, just don't answer the ex's call, right?
Right? That's what it comes down to.
It's like,
if you wouldn't mind, message me your email. I'm going to send you a copy of the book.
I absolutely will. And I will send you a copy of the link as soon as this renders. Not the technological gal, but that's it. Thank you so much. We will chat soon.